unleash your darkest fears with Netflix's top 10 hair-raising horror movies. From heart-pounding scares to twisted tales of terror, these disturbing selections will haunt your dreams. Let's dive right in. Number 10. Red Dot. A romantic getaway turns into a deadly manhunt beneath the frozen skies of the Swedish wilderness. When a red laser dot appears on their tent in the dead of night, Nadja and David realize they're being hunted by an unseen sniper, and it's only the beginning. Directed by Alain Darbourg, Red Dot blends survival horror with psychological torment, unraveling buried secrets as the couple battles nature, bloodthirsty pursuers, and each other. With each breath visible in the cold, every step forward becomes a descent into guilt, revenge, and madness. In this icy landscape, silence can kill and the past never stays buried. Number 9. Velvet Buzzsaw. In the polished world of high art, something grotesque lurks behind every masterpiece. When a collection of haunting paintings is discovered after the artist's mysterious death, they become the obsession of critics, dealers, and collectors alike, until the art begins to kill. Directed by Dan Gilroy, Velvet Buzzsaw twists the glittering facade of the gallery scene into a macabre funhouse of greed and supernatural vengeance. Canvases bleed, installations maim, and every exhibit comes with a curse. Beauty turns to horror as the spirits trapped within the strokes of paint begin to claim their revenge, one body at a time. Number 8, 1922.
I hope there is no God, because if there is no heaven.
Greed festers in the soil of a Nebraska farm, and something rotten rises with it. When Wilfred James conspires to murder his wife to keep their land, he drags his son into a grim pact that unravels their lives piece by piece. Directed by Zach Hilditch and based on Stephen King's novella, 1922 is a slow, burning descent into guilt, madness, and decay, where rats become omens and the past refuses to stay buried. The horror isn't loud, but it's a whisper from the cornfields, a shadow in the barn, a conscience gnawed away by time. In this tale, the dead speak, and they never forgive. Number 7. Mama.
She's mad.
Left alone in the woods for 5 years, 2 young sisters are found alive but not alone. Taken in by their uncle and his girlfriend, the girls bring with them an unseen guardian they call Mama, and she doesn't like to be replaced. Directed by Andres Muschietti and produced by Guillermo del Toro, Mama weaves a ghost story soaked in sorrow, clinging love, and the eerie bond between mother and child, even in death. Shadows stretch long, lullabies echo cold, and something inhuman rocks the cradle. Some love never lets go, and some mothers don't know how to die. Number 6. The Visit. When 2 siblings visit their estranged grandparents for the first time, what begins as a quaint country trip quickly spirals into eerie unease. Their host's behavior grows stranger by the day. Strict curfews, odd noises, and violent outbursts after dark. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan, The Visit blends found footage style with creeping dread, twisting the comfort of family into pure psychological terror. As the truth claws its way out, bedtime becomes a countdown to something unspeakable. Sometimes Grandma's not just acting strange, but she's hiding something monstrous. Number 5. Hush. Silence becomes a deadly battlefield when a deaf-mute writer is hunted by a masked killer in her isolated home. Maddie, living alone in the woods, is used to solitude, but when a sadistic stranger appears, taunting her from the shadows, her peaceful retreat becomes a fight for her life. Directed by Mike Flanagan, Hush strips horror to its bare bones, delivering relentless suspense through stillness, vulnerability, and primal fear. With no voice to scream and no ears to hear, Maddie's world is terrifyingly quiet, but every heartbeat, movement, and decision is magnified. The killer doesn't speak, but neither does she. And in this cruel game of predator and prey, silence is the sharpest weapon. Number 4. Evil Dead.
Kiss me, you dirty cunt!
In a remote forest cabin, 5 friends gather to help one of them battle addiction, but what they awaken is far more lethal than any drug. When a mysterious book of the dead is discovered in the basement, reading from its pages unleashes an ancient, bloodthirsty evil that possesses flesh and devours souls. Directed by Fede Alvarez, Evil Dead is a brutal, gore-soaked reimagining of the cult classic, where the line between body horror and demonic terror is drenched in crimson. The cabin becomes a slaughterhouse of screams, mutilation, and despair, where escape means more than survival. It means outlasting hell itself. Number 3, Ready or Not. On her wedding night, Grace thinks she's marrying into a quirky but wealthy family until she's told they must play a traditional game. But when hide and seek turns into a ritualistic bloodbath, she finds herself hunted through the family estate by gun-wielding in-laws. Directed by Matt Bettinelli and Tyler Gillett, Ready or Not blends savage horror with sharp satire, where wealth hides centuries-old curses and tradition demands sacrifice. Blood spills between chandeliers and secret passages, and a bride in a torn gown becomes a vengeful survivor. This isn't a game, it's a last breath, a last bullet, and a wedding night from hell. Number 2, we need to talk about Kevin.
Just a sweet little boy. That's it, boys.
A mother's love curdles into guilt as she confronts the monstrous truth growing inside her son. Ava has always sensed something wrong with Kevin. His cold stares, his manipulation, his quiet rage, but nothing prepares her for the horror he ultimately unleashes. Directed by Lynn Ramsey, the film is a chilling psychological descent into maternal dread and the making of evil, told through fractured memories and unbearable silence. The terror doesn't come from shadows or spirits, it comes from blood ties and the question that haunts every parent. What if your child is a monster? Number 1, Green Room.
The guy! Hold on!
A punk band's final gig turns into a brutal standoff when they witness something they were never meant to see. Trapped in a grimy green room at a neo-Nazi bar, the group must fight for survival against a gang of ruthless killers led by a cold-blooded mastermind. Directed by Jeremy Saulnier, Green Room is raw, relentless horror grounded in reality, where every wound bleeds, every scream matters, and every moment is a desperate fight to escape. There are no ghosts here, just blades, dogs, and the terrifying silence before violence erupts. In this room, survival means becoming just as savage as the monsters outside. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. Revelations.
그 괴물을 깨운 방아쇠가 뭔지 찾아야 해요.
In this South Korean mystery horror thriller, a pastor convinced of divine retribution and a detective haunted by her sister's death team up to solve a child's disappearance. As their investigation deepens, both grapple with visions, obsession, and blurred lines between faith and madness. The Influence. A nurse named Alicia returns to her childhood home with her husband and daughter to care for her dying, comatose mother. But the house harbors a sinister supernatural force tied to her family's occult past. As old memories and dark secrets resurface, she must confront what her mother really practiced and what it's unleashed upon her family. I am the pretty thing that lives in the house.
I will never be 29.
Lily, a young nurse, moves into a haunted old house to care for a dying author, and soon she realizes the house itself is her patient, not just her charge. Whispers and footsteps echo through empty halls at night as Lily becomes obsessed with the ghost story the author once wrote. Directed with eerie restraint, this film unfolds as a creeping psychological ghost story, where dread lingers in the corners and behind closed eyes. Urban legend. At a prestigious college, students begin dying in gruesome ways that mirror urban legends, each death more twisted and symbolic than the last. A group of friends races to decipher the killer's pattern in connection to their campus folklore, even as paranoia and suspicion spiral out of control. Directed with 90s slasher flair, Urban Legend blends classic scare tactics with psychological tension, exploring the power of stories to shape fear.